Let's talk real for a second. Most people never build wealth, not because they're lazy or dumb, but because they don't understand one key principle that runs the entire game: compounding. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about habits, skills, reputation, relationships, mindset, everything. See, compounding isn't flashy. It's that quiet grind, day in, day out, that feels like it's doing nothing until one day it's doing everything. The problem is, most people never stick around long enough to see it work. They quit after a few weeks at the gym. They stop investing when the market dips. They bail on their goals when life gets quiet. And that's why they stay stuck. Not because they don't have what it takes, but because they misunderstood how long it takes. Compounding works in levels, and if you don't know what those levels are, you'll keep jumping ship before the explosion ever happens. In this video, I'm breaking down the real layers of compounding, what each one looks like, how it feels, and why most people never move past the early levels. And once you see how it works, you'll stop rushing, stop comparing, and start letting time do what hustle alone can't. Level 1. Linear growth. This is where everyone starts. It's the part no one claps for, the part that feels like nothing is happening, and the part where most people quit. Linear growth is slow, it's steady, it's boring, but it's absolutely necessary. Whether you're putting $50 a month into an investment account, going to the gym for the first few weeks, learning a new skill online, or posting your first content, this level is the silent beginning. You're doing the work, but the results aren't loud yet. You don't feel a payoff. You don't get external validation. It feels like you're grinding in the dark, and you start questioning if any of it even matters. This is the hardest level because our brains are wired for instant feedback. We want to see the reward now. We want the investment to double, the abs to show, and the followers to grow. But linear growth doesn't work like that. You're building a foundation, and foundations are underground. Nobody praises you for laying bricks. They praise you when the house is finished. And that's where most people mess up. They stop watering their seeds just before they sprout. They abandon the habit because it didn't go viral. They walk away from the process because they can't see the progress. What's dangerous about this level is that it feels like a failure when it's actually a test. Linear growth is asking you one thing. Can you stay consistent even when it's quiet? Can you keep investing, keep learning, keep working, even when there's no applause? Because if you can't, then you'll never make it to the next level, where compounding begins to show its power. This level is about developing trust in the process. It's about showing up when nobody's watching. It's about knowing that even if the progress is invisible today, it's still building under the surface. So if you're in this phase right now, grinding, growing, with nothing to show yet, don't stop. This is the seedling stage. The results are coming, but only if you stay planted. Level 2. The first echo. Now this is where things start to get interesting. You've been showing up. You've been putting in the reps, the dollars, the time, and for the first time, you're starting to see a small return. Not huge, but tangible. This is what I call the first echo. It's the moment where the energy you've been putting out starts to echo back. Whether that's a few bucks of interest in your investment account, a noticeable change in your body, your first sale, your first breakthrough moment, this is when the game subtly shifts. And the key word here is subtle. See, most people don't notice this echo because they're so focused on the explosion they were expecting. But this stage is crucial because it confirms that compounding is real. It's no longer just a theory or something you heard online. It's something you feel. The dollars start earning their own dollars. The work you put in starts working for you. And it's not just about growth, it's about momentum. That little spark creates something deep inside of you: belief. And that belief is everything, because belief is what keeps people in the game long enough to win. The trap here, because the growth is still small, some people start underestimating it. They might say, it's only $5, or it's just one new client, or it's just a tiny improvement. And they let the smallness fool them into quitting. But what they don't realize is that this small gain is proof that the system is working. And once that system is working, your only job is to feed it and protect it. Keep showing up, keep reinvesting, keep doubling down on what's working. You've entered the realm where your effort starts to multiply, not just add. And while it may not look like a lot yet, the engine is now alive. This is when you have to fight impatience. Because the compounding effect doesn't care how badly you want quick results. It rewards those who let it breathe, those who stay disciplined, those who see a $5 return and treat it like $1 million sign of progress. This level is about understanding that the first echo isn't the reward. It's the signal that the reward is coming. And if you can recognize that and stay focused, you're already ahead of 90% of people who give up before this moment ever arrives. Level 3. Exponential growth. This is the level where things go from quiet to undeniable. You've been consistent. You've passed through the slow, frustrating grind of linear growth. You've caught that first glimpse of return during the early compounding stage. But now, you've stayed in long enough for the real magic to kick in. Exponential growth. This is the point where your graph stops looking like a straight line and starts curving upward. And it's not luck, it's math, discipline, and time finally rewarding you for sticking around when it was still boring. At this level, the growth starts multiplying faster than you ever expected. If we're talking about investing, your returns are now earning returns on their returns. A $10,000 investment that took years to reach $20,000 might jump to $40,000 in just a fraction of that time. If we're talking about business, the clients start rolling in without constant outreach because referrals are compounding. If it's your personal brand, you go from struggling to get noticed to hitting algorithm after algorithm because your audience is now growing on its own. The work you did in the shadows is now working for you. That's the power of exponential growth. But let me be clear, this level doesn't feel like a win at first. It feels like a storm. Things grow fast, and if you're not prepared, it can overwhelm you. The temptation to relax kicks in. You might want to coast. You might think, I've made it. But the most dangerous thing at level 3 is believing that growth will continue without effort. The truth is, exponential growth rewards those who double down, not those who sit back. Now is when you need to pour even more back into the system, more reinvestment, more learning, more refining of your process. Because this window of momentum is precious, and if you treat it carelessly, it can disappear just as fast as it arrived. What's emotionally powerful about this level is that your past self finally feels validated. Every dollar you saved, every video you made, every sacrifice you endured, it all makes sense now. People start noticing, opportunities open up, and yet, deep down, you know they didn't see the struggle. They didn't see the sleepless nights, the second guessing, the moments where quitting felt easier. But you know, and that knowing changes something in you. It gives you not just confidence, but clarity. You realize that compounding isn't just about money or success. It's about the person you had to become to earn it. So if you're starting to feel things accelerate, don't panic, don't get lazy, and don't stop now because this is where the gap widens. Most people never make it here, and those who do often get drunk on their early success and fall off. But the ones who lock in at this level, they build empires, they buy time, they create freedom, because exponential growth is no longer potential, it's reality. You just have to respect it enough to keep it going. Level 4. Compounding income. This is the level where wealth building shifts into an entirely different gear, because now it's not just about one stream of income growing. It's about creating multiple streams that grow, feed each other, and compound together. This is where financial momentum becomes financial multiplication. You're no longer depending on a single paycheck, a single investment, or a single business. You've built systems that generate income while you sleep, while you rest, while you live. And it all started back at level 1, but now the harvest has become a forest. At this point, you've likely got income from different sources. Maybe you've got long-term investments generating returns. Maybe your business or brand is bringing in consistent revenue. Maybe you've started earning from affiliate deals, digital products, rental income, dividends, or even royalties from something you built once and now continues to pay you over time. Whatever it looks like, the key is, these streams are not isolated, they compound together. One stream helps fund the next. Profits from one venture are reinvested into another. And the more streams you create, the more your risk decreases, while your freedom increases. But here's what makes this level powerful. For the first time in your life, you feel safe. Not just comfortable, safe. Because you're no longer relying on a job that could lay you off. You're no longer stressing over one client, one launch, or one paycheck. You've built options, and options are power. You can say no to things that don't serve you. You can walk away from toxic environments. You can make decisions from a place of freedom, not fear. That's not just financial peace, that's psychological wealth. And let's be honest, this is where people start asking, how did you do it? But they didn't see the years of consistency, patience, and sacrifice that got you here. They didn't see the compound effect building silently in the background. And now that it's loud, they think it happened overnight. That's why you have to stay grounded, because success can be just as dangerous as failure if you let it get to your head. You need to stay disciplined, keep reinvesting, keep learning, keep diversifying. Because once you understand how powerful multiplying income can be, the game becomes one of stability, longevity, and legacy. This level isn't about being rich, it's about being resilient. If one stream dries up, you're still good. If the market shifts, you've got backups. If life throws you a curveball, you don't crumble, you adapt. That's the real power of level 4. You've engineered your life to survive storms and thrive in seasons. And most importantly, you've bought yourself time. Time to build, time to rest, time to live life on your terms. That's what compounding income unlocks, and once you taste it, you'll never go back to living paycheck to paycheck again. Level 5. The Roar. This level changes everything, not just financially, but socially, professionally, and personally. Because now, it's not just your money that's compounding, it's your reputation. The name you've been quietly building, the consistency you've shown, the trust you've earned, that silent whisper about you in the background. It starts turning into a roar. You're not chasing opportunities anymore, they're chasing you. Whether you're a creator, a business owner, an investor, a leader, or even just someone who shows up with integrity, every interaction, every decision, every piece of value you've ever put into the world has left a trace. That trace turns into a trail. And over time, that trail becomes a track record. And that track record is your reputation. And here's the truth that most people underestimate. Your reputation compounds faster than money ever will. Because when people trust your name, the doors open before you knock. You don't have to prove yourself in every room. You walk in with credibility already on your shoulders. This level hits different because after years of wondering if anyone noticed, they finally do. They notice your consistency, your work ethic, and your resilience. You no longer have to scream to be heard. Your results speak for you. Your past clients speak for you. Your audience speaks for you. And what's even crazier, this kind of credibility can't be bought. It has to be earned. You can't fake it. You can't shortcut it. You have to live it, day in and day out until people know this person delivers. Compounding reputation isn't just about fame or followers, it's about leverage. When people trust you, things happen faster, cheaper, and more efficiently. You don't need to beg for partnerships. People want to collaborate. You don't need to fight for attention. Your content gets shared without you asking. You don't need to run expensive ads. Your name becomes a magnet. That's the kind of equity that can take decades to build, but can create lifelong impact. And the real beauty? It multiplies. Every great interaction you've ever had feeds the next one. Every piece of value you've dropped becomes a seed that grows in someone else's life, and they remember that. And now let's talk risk. When your reputation compounds, you also have more to lose. One mistake, one moment of arrogance, one breach of trust, it can hit harder. That's why, at this level, character matters more than ever. You've got to protect your name like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Money comes and goes. Opportunities rise and fall. But a good name, that can open doors for generations. So if you're here, or even starting to feel the momentum of this level, stay grounded, stay consistent, because when your whisper turns into a roar, the world starts listening. And what they hear will be shaped by everything you did when no one was watching. This is the true reward of compounding, becoming the kind of person whose name alone creates opportunity. Level 6. Mastery through time. At level 6, it's not just your money that's growing, or your reputation, or your income streams, it's your ability. The skills you've been sharpening over the years, day by day, hour by hour, have now evolved into something rare, valuable, and deeply powerful. Mastery. See, most people chase results, but they forget that real long-term power comes from skill. Because when you master something, whether it's investing, writing, coding, selling, leading, negotiating, creating, teaching, designing, you unlock a kind of leverage that can never be taken from you. Skills don't get taxed. They don't disappear in a recession. They don't fade with trends. They compound. And when they do, they create opportunities that money alone never could. And here's what's powerful about this level. You start to realize how far you've come. Tasks that used to take you 10 hours now take 10 minutes. Challenges that used to scare you now feel like warm-ups. Where others feel pressure, you feel flow. That's not just experience, that's accumulated skill weight. You've put in the reps. You've made the mistakes. You've learned the nuance. And now your execution is cleaner, sharper, and more confident, and people feel that. But it goes even further, because once your skills compound, you stop competing on price and start competing on value. You're no longer a commodity. You're not just someone who does X, you're the one. And that puts you in a position where you get to choose the terms. You set your rates. You choose your clients. You dictate your schedule. Skill gives you freedom. Freedom from dependency, freedom from insecurity, and freedom from the fear of starting over. Compounding skill isn't fast, it's frustrating. It feels slow. You question yourself. You compare yourself. You wonder if you're even getting better. But skill building is like weightlifting. You don't see the gains day by day, but 6 months in, people start noticing. A year in, you start noticing. And 5 years in, you become dangerous in the best way possible. Because when you can do what few others can do, the world rewards you in ways money can't measure. The mindset shift you need at level 6 is to stop chasing results and start chasing refinement. Keep learning, keep sharpening, keep obsessing over the craft. Ask yourself, how can I get 1% better today? That's how mastery compounds, not in leaps, but in layers. And when those layers stack, the difference between a good skill and a great one is everything. So if you're someone who's been putting in the hours, studying, practicing, failing, adjusting, know this. It's not wasted. It's not unseen. It's a continuous level of compounding you've been doing. And one day, you're going to look back and realize you don't just have a skill, you are the skill. You've become the asset. And that makes you unstoppable in any economy, any industry, any arena. This is level 6, where quiet practice becomes loud mastery, where your talent meets your discipline, where you stop hoping for success and start executing it like second nature. Stay consistent, stay obsessed, because mastery isn't luck. It's earned through time, patience, and relentless commitment to the craft. Level 7. The power of who you know. This is the level where everything begins to scale beyond what you can do alone. Because no matter how talented, disciplined, or smart you are, there's a ceiling to what one person can achieve by themselves. But when your network starts compounding, that ceiling gets shattered. This is where the people around you become the accelerators of your growth, your opportunities, and your network. Your network becomes your net worth, not in theory, but in actual, measurable results. You can work 10 times harder, or you can build the right relationships and move 10 times faster. You can grind every day, or you can know someone who opens one door that changes everything. That's not hype, that's leverage. When you consistently add value to others, stay connected, operate with integrity, and genuinely support the right people, something magical happens over time. You stop chasing rooms and the rooms start calling you in. Now, here's where most people mess this up. They think networking is transactional, like it's about collecting business cards, sending cold DMs, or only hitting people up when they need something. That's not how compounding networks work. A compounding network is earned, not collected. It's built by consistently showing up as someone who brings value, not someone who takes it. It's built through years of collaboration, reliability, and authenticity. The people who succeed at this level are the ones who ask, "How can I help you?" Not, "What can I get from you?" What makes this level powerful is that you start to realize just how much who you know shapes where you go. You get introduced to someone you never thought you'd meet. You're offered opportunities you didn't even know existed. You gain access to resources, investments, platforms, partnerships, and wisdom that would have taken you years if you could have done it alone. And the best part? You're now in a position to do the same for others. You start helping people rise with you. You start compounding value within your community. That's when your network goes from just being powerful to becoming purposeful. Relationships are a long game. The person you help today with zero expectation might become the person who funds your business 5 years from now. The friend you supported through tough times might become your business partner, investor, or biggest supporter. That's why you never burn bridges. That's why you treat people with respect no matter their status. Because value in a compounding network often shows up later. But when it does, it can change your entire direction. And let's be real, this level requires a shift in identity. You can't stay in the lone wolf mindset. You can't be the person who hoards knowledge or avoids connection because of fear or ego. You've got to be intentional about who you surround yourself with. You have to invest time in relationships like you would in a business. You have to give without keeping score. So if you're still trying to do it all on your own, pause. Think about the people you're connected to, the people who inspire you, the people you could learn from, help, or collaborate with. Ask yourself, am I watering those relationships the way I should be? Because a network doesn't grow from a one-time interaction. It grows from consistent connections and mutual value over time. And once it compounds, it becomes one of the most powerful assets you'll ever have. Level 8. Beyond you. This level is not about becoming a millionaire, buying your dream house, or getting the applause of strangers on the internet. Level 8 is about something far deeper. This is the level where the compounding no longer just benefits you. It starts to benefit others. Long after you're done, long after you've stepped away, long after the grind is over. This is the level where what you built continues to grow and serve people even when you're not in the room, even when you're not alive. Let's be honest, everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to get rich, retire early, be free. But very few people ask a deeper question. What happens after I win? What do I leave behind? What systems, what principles, what seeds am I planting today that will bear fruit not just for me, but for others, for my children, for my community, for strangers I'll never meet? Because when you hit level 8, the focus shifts from success to significance, from short-term gain to generational impact. This is the level where the wealth you've built turns into structure, where your story becomes a blueprint and the habits, assets, and mindset you developed now serve as a foundation others can build on. Your name starts opening doors for people who share your DNA, your values, or your vision. That business you started outlives you. That content you created continues to teach. That trust you built, it transfers to your kids. That system you set up, it keeps feeding your family. The real reward at this level is not what you own, but what you leave. And here's what's wild. This level of compounding works the fastest when you're not around to see it. You don't always get applause or thanked, but the impact is real. It shows up in the next generation's freedom, in your child not having to start from zero, in someone quoting you years after you're gone, in the ripple effect of a life that mattered. But this level takes sacrifice. It takes vision. It takes doing things today that won't reward you for years. It means creating systems that work without you, teaching what you've learned, documenting what works, putting people in a position to succeed, even if they shine more than you. That's why most people never reach level 8. They're too focused on being the face of the win instead of being the foundation of one. But the ones who do reach this level, they don't just succeed, they create a standard. Also, this level is powerful because it forces you to confront something deep. What kind of ancestor am I becoming? What will my kids say about how I moved? What will the next generation inherit from me, debt and confusion, or wisdom and direction? Because let's face it, some people pass down trauma, bad habits, poverty, and confusion. Others pass down structure, values, wealth, and clarity. One is survival, the other is legacy. So if you're building right now, if you're grinding, learning, saving, investing, creating, know this. Every smart decision you make compounds into something much bigger than money. You are building a story that others will follow, a map they will use when they're lost. You are, right now, laying bricks that someone else will stand on. And whether you ever get to see the full height of that building or not, it will matter, stand, and outlive you. So, how do you climb the levels of compounding? Let's break this down step by step because climbing the levels of compounding is not a mystery, and it's definitely not reserved for the ultra-rich, the ultra-connected, or the ultra-lucky. It's a strategy, and more importantly, it's a lifestyle. But most people stay stuck at level 1 or 2 their whole lives because they don't know how to climb. So let's talk about how you actually move up from the slow, frustrating beginnings all the way to legacy-level wealth and impact. 1. Start where you are, with what you have. The climb doesn't begin with money. It begins with consistency. Some people delay the journey because they think they need a big income, a business idea, or a perfect plan. That's the trap. What you need is habitual momentum. If all you can invest is $10 a week, do it. If you can only learn for 30 minutes a day, do it. If you're only earning minimum wage, but you save 5% and cut your expenses by $20, do it. Climbing starts with proving to yourself that you're serious, even when the numbers are small. That's level 1 discipline. Every person who's ever built wealth, a brand, a skill, or a legacy, started with what they had, not what they wished for. Your job isn't to be perfect, it's to be consistent. Small money turns into big money. Small ideas turn into major impact, but only when you give them time to compound. 2. Track your progress. Don't guess. You can't climb levels you don't track. You need to see your growth to believe in it. This is where most people fall off. They make progress but don't feel it because they aren't measuring it. Track your investments. Track your savings. Track your skill growth. Track your progress. Not obsessively, but intentionally. Because numbers tell the story your feelings often lie about. Feeling stuck? Look at the data. Is your net worth going up, even slowly? Are your views, subscribers, or customers growing? Are you getting better at your craft? That's momentum. And momentum, over time, explodes, but only if you keep feeding it. Tracking helps you stay motivated during the slow times when most quit. 3. Delay the rewards, double the results. This one's hard. This is the mental game. If you want to climb the levels of compounding, you have to get comfortable with delayed gratification. That means letting your money sit and grow instead of spending it. It means reinvesting your earnings into tools, skills, and platforms instead of flexing on social media. It means saying no to good things now so you can say yes to great things later. Think of it like this. The higher up you want to climb, the more patient you need to be. Every level requires you to resist the urge to cash out early. People who stay stuck are constantly resetting. They build a little, then spend it. Start a project, then quit it. Save a little, then drain it. That's a compounding killer. But when you delay rewards and keep compounding, you hit that point where things take off, and when they do, it's not 2 times better. It's 10 times. That's the power of waiting. The reward multiplies because you waited. 4. Focus on skill before status. One of the biggest reasons people never climb is because they're too focused on looking successful instead of becoming skilled. At every level, your skill is your multiplier. The better you get, the faster you grow. Don't chase followers, chase mastery. Don't worry about being seen, worry about being useful. You climb by getting so good they can't ignore you, and that means practicing when no one's watching, learning when no one's paying, and staying obsessed with your craft, not your ego. Skill compounds the same way money does. If you commit to 1% improvement every day, over time, you become elite. An elite skill gives you options, opportunities, and income that status never will. 5. Build systems, not just goals. You can't climb without structure. A goal is a finish line. A system is a ladder. Most people set goals like, I want to save $10K or I want 100K followers. But they don't build the daily system that gets them there. You climb when your daily habits work in your favor automatically. Automate your savings. Schedule your content. Block time to learn. Set rules for spending. Build a life that nudges you upward even on the days you don't feel like it. Systems protect you from failure. They protect you from motivation slumps. They keep you moving when life gets hard. And that's the point, because if your climb is dependent on willpower alone, you won't make it. Build systems so that success becomes inevitable, not optional. 6. Audit your environment ruthlessly. You cannot climb the levels of compounding in a toxic environment. If you're surrounded by people who don't get it, who mock your ambition, who waste their time, who spend every dollar they earn, you will fall off track. Not because you're weak, but because your environment shapes your behavior more than you realize. Audit who you spend time with, what you consume online, what habits are normalized around you, then upgrade it. Follow people who challenge you. Join communities that elevate you. Get around people who are climbing too, because at every new level, you need a new circle, not for clout, but for growth. Your proximity to momentum will determine how far you go. 7. Think decades, not days. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Stop thinking in days, weeks, or even years. Start thinking in decades. Wealth doesn't just belong to the fastest hustler, it belongs to the most patient builder. Skill doesn't just belong to the naturally talented, it belongs to the person who practiced for 10 years straight. When you zoom out and commit to the long game, your decisions get smarter. You stop panicking over short-term setbacks. You stop making emotional choices. You start playing like a pro, not a hobbyist. And most importantly, you start compounding at every level. Because the one thing all compounders have in common, they stayed long enough for the snowball to turn into an avalanche. 8. Give more than you take. This one surprises people, but it's the final key to climbing the highest levels. You grow faster when you shift from extraction to contribution. Help others. Share your wins. Teach what you've learned. Connect people. Support those below you and beside you. Why? Because the network, the reputation, and the relationships you build by giving value, they start compounding too. At level 8, it's not about how much you've made. It's about how much you've multiplied. Legacy is built when your wins outlive you, and that only happens when you stop climbing for yourself and start climbing for those who will follow behind you. Serve others now, and they will carry your name into rooms you'll never step in. So now, we've walked through every level, from planting the first seed of effort, to watching your work multiply, to ultimately leaving something behind that grows even when you're gone. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's that you don't have to be extraordinary to start. You just have to start. You don't need the perfect setup. You don't need to have it all figured out. What you need is consistency, patience, and the courage to not quit when it gets boring. Here's the truth that most people miss. The compounding life is not just about money. It's about growth in every area: your habits, your mindset, your health, your skills, your relationships, and your impact. The math is simple, but the mindset is what breaks people. Because the first part of compounding always feels thankless. You're doing the work, but the results are so small you start to wonder, is this even worth it? But the second you ask that question, that's when you're closest to the breakthrough. The pain is loud at the beginning, but the reward, it comes quietly and then all at once. And look, I know this is not some overnight hack. Most people spend their lives starting over again and again because they never gave the right thing enough time. Don't be like most people. Be the person who sees past today. Be the person who stays planted when everyone else is jumping ship. Be the one who keeps building when it's hard, when it's slow, when it's silent, because that's how you win. You are one disciplined year away from changing your entire trajectory. One shift in mindset away from separating yourself from everyone you grew up around. One decision away from climbing to a level that most people will never touch, not because they couldn't, but because they stopped. The levels of compounding don't reward the smartest. They reward the most committed. That means this is a game anyone can win if you're willing to stay in it long enough. So wherever you are right now, whether you're still stuck in level 1 or you're climbing toward legacy, know this: your work is not in vain. Your consistency is not a waste. Your small decisions matter. The numbers might be quiet now, but one day they will scream. The roots are forming. The foundation is set, and if you stay focused, if you stay consistent, if you trust the process, compounding will take care of the rest. This journey is yours. These levels are real. And the life on the other side of compound growth, it's more powerful, peaceful, and freeing than anything quick success could ever offer. So don't just start, commit, stay locked in. And when it gets hard, come back to this message. Come back to this truth. You are building something exponential,